Hope you're doing well today. Today I want to share with you some information I think is a little controversial because I hear so many different approaches on this. And ultimately, this is about who do you go to get advice. It's so easy for us to think when somebody's richer than you are, go to the person who's richer than you are, the richest person. Or, you go to the gym, right? And when you see somebody, let's say you see this guy with like really big muscles. I don't know, I'm not the greatest artist. So you look, that's fingers, that's the muscle. Okay, here's the guy, and here's the other muscle, I don't know. All right, so here's the point. Let's say you want to go to a gym, and you're a guy, and you want to get big muscles. Typically, we will seek out, if we want an advice, we're going to seek out advice from the guy with the biggest muscle, right? The biggest muscles. That's the guy I want to talk to. Or if you're in business, I remember I went to an event one day, and we're all sitting around, we're having lunch together, and as we're eating lunch, this one guy says, "I gotta leave. He's gotta run." He goes, "Because so and so, he's doing, I don't know, $20 million, and I gotta listen to him." So he thinks that he's gotta listen to this guy because he's not making $20 million and this guy's making $20 million. He must know something that he doesn't know. This guy must know something that he doesn't know. And that may be true. So you're thinking, well, Gary, this makes a lot of sense. Why would you not go to the guy with bigger muscles if you want bigger muscles? Why would you not go to the guy that has a bigger company making more money than you are? It only makes sense. But does it? Let's think about it. And I'm not saying it doesn't. I'm not saying it does yet. Phil, is it Jackson? I think I have it written down. Phil Jackson, the basketball player, coach, I should say, and Bill Belichick. All right. Phil Jackson, do you know, and by the way, I don't know much about sports, but I do know he was one of the greatest coaches. I think he coached Michael Jordan. Phil Jackson, his average, he was a basketball player. He played basketball. His average points per game, 7. Michael Jordan, over 30. Take a guess who coached Michael Jordan. The coach with only 7 coached a guy who did 30. Now notice that Michael Jordan didn't get a coach who did 60 points. I'm saying, I got to get that guy to coach me. He's doing 60 points a game. No, this guy did 7 points a game. What's the point? Pun intended? It really wasn't. But pun intended now. What's the point? The point is the teaching. That's what you want. The teaching ability of this person was so good, even though he only got 7 points a game, he became the coach of one of the greatest basketball players in the world. Here's my point. If you go to somebody, let's take an example of somebody that we all know. I better not do that, and you'll see why in a moment. Let's take an example of somebody that you see that's very, very wealthy. You want to interview them and get their advice. Let's go to the muscle guy for a moment, all right? Let's go to the muscle guy. So here's the muscle guy. He's here. He's got these big muscles. He's over here. He's got these really big muscles. Okay, so we want big muscles like the big muscle guy. So we're going to go to him and get his advice. But here's what we're not seeing. And when we look at the person who's very, very, very wealthy, here's what we're not seeing. So we go to this muscle guy, and we say, I want big muscles. What's the exercise that you do? And he goes, well, I do it like this, and I do this one like this. Okay, but what he's not telling us, he does this for 3 hours a day, and then he does other muscles the next day and the next day. He spends 6 days a week in the gym, 3 hours a day. Now do you see why he's got big muscles? Now you look at the guy who's got all this money, and you want their advice. Now, do we not take his advice? Oh, we forgot to let you know that he also does steroids. Now, if you want to do steroids, if you want to go to gym 6 days a week, and if you want to work out 3 hours a day, you can look like him. Let's go to the guy that makes $1 billion. You want to make $1 billion. So what do? What's he? You go to that person and he gives you this advice and he gives you that advice. But we forgot to find out to get there, he worked 80 hours a week when he was younger. And he decided to spend very little time with family. Ended up getting a divorce, cheating on his wife, doing drugs, alcohol. He needs medication to get up in the morning, medication to go to bed at night. Am I making myself clear? All right, so Gary, yes, it makes a lot of sense. Now what do? I would not listen to that person. I don't want to be a billionaire. I'm not willing to pay the price. But I'm willing to learn strategies. Listen closely. I'm willing to learn strategies from the muscle guy, from the billionaire, within parameters of two things. What are they? Within the parameters of my values and beliefs. These are your two parameters. So, go to that person, interview them, learn from them, and then you go until it violates your values and or beliefs. For example, I work out. I don't want to be Mr. Olympia because it's not within my values and beliefs. Number one, I'm not interested in taking steroids, so I'm going to stop there. I'm not interested in doing certain things they do, but I am interested in doing certain things they do. We go to the billionaire. Well, if the billionaire is spending, and I have met numerous billionaires, spent time with so many successful people, and I learn from them the things that I want to use to take my company and my lifestyle to the level I want to within my values and beliefs. The point here is, you don't necessarily have to learn from somebody to make more money that's wealthier than you are. It's strongly suggested. Don't get me wrong, okay? I'm not saying don't do that. It's probably the smarter thing. And I say probably because the last thing you want to learn is to try to get advice from poor people to be rich. Now, just because somebody is like, for example, I'll take advice from somebody who's less successful financially than I am. But I know because of their values and beliefs, because they want to be a real great father or a real great wife, or they want to spend a lot of time with their family, etc. They don't have a poor mind mentality. They don't whatsoever. They've just kept themselves to a level that they want to. They're still growing, but they're not willing to tear up, if you will, their values and beliefs. They may make less than me. I'm still going to listen to them. But if they have a poor money mentality, that's a different thing. That's an attitude. Why would you want to listen to somebody like that? So I don't mind listening to people that make less than me, as long as their strategy is right. That's the key. Does that make sense? So I want you to be thinking about when you see somebody. Now, if they're attacking the successful people, that's a person you don't want to take advice from. But just because they're not making $1 billion and they're only making $500 million, or maybe 100 million or 10 million, it doesn't mean that person is not worthy of listening to them. So understand this, and I think this is such a vital part of your success. Here's another twist for you. I know a couple, talking about relationships, who've been married now for, 55, 56 years, happily married. Now, would I go to them for advice? Yes, but check this out. Watch this, okay? This is his advice. This is one nugget of his advice if you want a great, amazing relationship. Now, for those of you who are watching this, type in the comments if you'd like a great relationship. Say, I'd like a great relationship. Or just great relationship. But here's the thing. We go to this happy couple. Let me show you how happy he is. And they are, I should say. When I first met them, they still hold hands. He still opens her car door to let her in the door. Sometimes the door gets heavy. But he still does it. But here's what's interesting. If I got you to come with me and meet this couple and I told you, look at this older couple. They just got married 6 months ago. You would believe it because they're so lovey-dovey. They're still doing things for each other. They're still holding hands. You would have no reason not to believe they just got married. That's how connected they are. Okay, so we all want love in our life. We all want to have a successful relationship. So here's one of his number one bits of advice that the average person who says they want an incredible relationship will not do and sacrifice. Here it is. 15 what? 15 hours. 15 hours what? A week. 15 hours a week. For what? He says for you to have an incredibly successful relationship, remember he's got 50 plus years under his belt of real success, he recommends 15 hours a week of quality time that you spend with each other. 15 hours of quality time. Now all of a sudden our brain's starting to go, okay, let's think about that. Let's say we have a husband over here. All right. He's got his, let me do a bow tie. All right. And then we've got the wife over here. Okay. She's wearing a dress. Now, she works 60 hours a week. He works 60 hours a week. They got 3 kids. The kids got soccer and games. We'll just put games. Okay, whoa, back up now. Wait a minute. This guy is saying I gotta carve out 15 hours to have a successful relationship. Here's where the excuses come in. Well, wait a minute. That means now I'm gonna have to go to less than 60 hours. I'm gonna lose what? Money. He's gonna lose money. The kids are gonna be unhappy now because now they're going to have to spend less time playing games so they can have more time for each other because mom and dad have to play limo driver and taxi driver. Do you see how this all messes up the apple cart? But if you really want to listen to his advice and really have a truly happy marriage, you will make some adjustments here. If you're not, then you won't and you'll stay where you're at. That's it. So then, if you're going to want to have that extra $100 million or $50 million, you've got to figure out what are you willing to move around. I'm not saying don't listen to somebody that's more successful. I know I do. I have people who I use as my advisors who are way more successful than I am. But I also know what their values and beliefs are, and I'm going to keep my changes that I need to do to have more success within my values and beliefs. So there's a price to pay. It's a give and take and give and take. So my final question, which I'm going to share a video on this later on, is when it comes to success and all these different things, when is enough enough? See, it's so easy on social media to see all these people, crushing it and doing all these sales and making millions and millions, and I've been blessed to make millions myself, but are they paying a price? What is the price they're willing to pay that you don't even know about, that I hear about because I know a lot of these people? You want to be cautious. So stay within your values and beliefs. Be true to yourself, be true to your friends and family, know what they are, and then what this will also do is if you stay within your values and beliefs, you'll end up being smarter at making more money and not necessarily working harder. If you haven't seen my video on the 80-20 principle rule, there's a great example there of how you can kind of tighten things in your life, work less but make a lot more, just like I would work with this family. If I had that family that wanted to have a more successful marriage and each one of them are doing 60 hours each, there's things that they can do. It's not going to happen overnight, that they can start pulling back, shaving time off, doing things. It's a lifestyle change that they will be able to fit in that 15 hours if they made that a priority, and they could end up in time making the same, most likely more than they're making now. All right, hope you've enjoyed today's video. I love this stuff. I'm just trying to bring common sense to the table. You see us use common sense. Just because somebody is richer than we are, or like people that they'll listen to me because I've been on TV and I'm successful and I've got books, that doesn't mean I'm right at everything. I may be right at everything for somebody that has the same values and beliefs I do, but if somebody doesn't have the same values and beliefs I do, they can look at me and say, Gary, your stuff's a bunch of cockamamie. It doesn't make any sense at all. So you've got to determine that, and that's where you got to make sure you think on your own and be very careful who you follow and what you listen to. You're listening and looking for the teaching ability, right? So Phil Jackson, he was not the best basketball player at only 7 points averaging a game, but he knew how to teach you to be a better basketball player. I'm out of here. Between now and the next time we get to chat, you know what to do. Here it is. Don't let others rent space in your head. Have a blessed day. Love to see your comments below. I do try to respond to as many of them as possible. And as I've mentioned in previous videos, we were hacked a number of months ago. So your support is definitely appreciated if you subscribe and share this with your friends and colleagues. I'm out of here. Till the next video. We'll see you.